Jai Hind everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge etc. Historical Events, a journey through time of 2nd December 2024, Monday. 2nd December highlight in history. 1697, St. Paul's Cathedral rebuilt to the design of Sir Christopher Wren following the Great Fire of London is consecrated. 1763, dedication of the Tudor Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island, the first synagogue in what will become the United States. 1766, Swedish Parliament approves the Swedish Freedom of the Press Act and implements it as a ground law, thus being first in the world with freedom of speech. 1804, at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, Napoleon Bonaparte crowns himself Emperor of the French. 1805, War of the Third Coalition, Battle of Austerlitz, French troops under Napoleon decisively defeat a joint Russo-Austrian force. 1823, Monroe Doctrine. In a State of the Union message, US President James Monroe proclaims American neutrality in future European conflicts and warns European powers not to interfere in the Americas. 1845, Manifest Destiny. In a State of the Union message, US President James K. Polk proposes that the United States should aggressively expand into the West. 1848, Franz Joseph I becomes Emperor of Austria. 1851, French President Louis Napoleon Bonaparte overthrows the Second Republic. 1852, Louis Napoleon Bonaparte becomes Emperor of the French as Napoleon III. 1859, Origins of the American Civil War. Militant abolitionist leader John Brown is hanged for his October raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, now West Virginia. 1865, Alabama ratifies the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, followed by North Carolina, then Georgia. U.S. slaves were legally free within 2 weeks. 1867, at Tremont Temple in Boston, British author Charles Dickens gives his first public reading in the United States. 1899, Philippine-American War. The Battle of Tired Pass, known as the Filipino Thermopylae, is fought. 1908, Puyi becomes Emperor of China at the age of 2. 1917, World War I. Russia and the Central Powers signs an armistice at Brest-Litovsk and peace talks leading to the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk begin. 1927, following 19 years of Ford Model T production, the Ford Motor Company unveils the Ford Model A as its new automobile. 1930, Great Depression. In a State of the Union message, US President Herbert Hoover proposes a $150 million public works program to help generate jobs and stimulate the economy. 1939, New York City LaGuardia Airport opens. 1942, World War II. During the Manhattan Project, a team led by Enrico Fermi initiates the first artificial self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction. 1943, World War II. A Luftwaffe bombing raid on the harbor of Bari, Italy sinks numerous cargo and transport ships, including the American SS John Harvey, which is carrying a stockpile of mustard gas. 1947, Jerusalem riots of 1947. Arabs riot in Jerusalem in response to the United Nations partition plan for Palestine. 1949, Convention for the Suppression of the Traffic in Persons and of the Exploitation of the Prostitution of Others is adopted. 1950, Korean War. The Battle of the Chongchon River ends with a decisive Chinese victory and UN forces are completely expelled from North Korea. 1954, Cold War. The United States Senate votes 65 to 22 censure Joseph McCarthy for conduct that tends to bring the Senate into dishonor and disrepute. 1954, the Sino-American Mutual Defense Treaty between the United States and Taiwan is signed in Washington, D.C. 1956, the Granma reaches the source of Cuba's Oriente province. Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and 80 other members of the 26th of July movement disembarked to initiate the Cuban Revolution. 1957, United Nations Security Council Resolution 126 relating to the Kashmir conflict is adopted. 1961, in a nationally broadcast speech, Cuban leader Fidel Castro declares that he is a Marxist-Leninist and that Cuba will adopt communism. 1962, Vietnam War. After a trip to Vietnam at the request of US President John F. Kennedy, US Senate Majority Leader Mike Mansfield becomes the first American official to comment adversely on the war's progress. 1968, when Consolidated Airlines Flight 55 crashes into Pedro Bay, Alaska, killing all 39 people on board. 1970, the United States Environmental Protection Agency begins operations. 1971, Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Fujairah, Sharjah, Dubai, and Al Quwain form the United Arab Emirates. 1975, Latvian Civil War. The Pathet Lao sieges the Laotian capital of Vientiane, forces the abdication of King Sisavang Bhattana, and proclaims the Lao People's Democratic Republic. 1976, Fidel Castro becomes president of Cuba, replacing Osvaldo Dorticos Torado. 1977, a Tupolev Tu-154 crashes near Benghazi, Libya, killing 59. 1980, Salvadoran Civil War. 4 American missionaries are raped and murdered by a death squad. 1982, at the University of Utah, Barney Clark becomes the first person to receive a permanent artificial heart. 1988, Benazir Bhutto is sworn in as Prime Minister of Pakistan, becoming the first woman to head the government of a Muslim majority state. 1988, Space Shuttle Atlantis is launched on STS-27, a classified mission for the United States Department of Defense. 1989, the peace agreement of Hath Yai is signed and ratified by the Malayan Communist Party (MCP) and the governments of Malaysia and Thailand, ending the over 2-decade-long communist insurgency in Malaysia. 1990, Space Shuttle Columbia is launched on STS-35, carrying the Astro 1 Space Lab Observatory. 1991, Canada and Poland become the first nations to recognize the independence of Ukraine from the Soviet Union. 1992, Space Shuttle Discovery is launched on STS-53 for the United States Department of Defense. 1993, Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar is shot and killed by police in Medellin. 1993, Space Shuttle Program STS-61, NASA launches the Space Shuttle Endeavour on a mission to repair the Hubble Space Telescope. 1999, the United Kingdom devolves political power in Northern Ireland to the Northern Ireland Executive following the Good Friday Agreement. 2001, Enron flies for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. 2015, San Bernardino attack. Soed Rizwan Farouk and Tasfin Malik killed 14 people and wounded 22 at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California. 2016, 36 people die in a fire at a converted Oakland, California warehouse serving as an artist collective. 2020, cannabis is removed from the list of most dangerous drugs of the International Drug Control Treaty by the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs. Thank you very much for your patience.